Welcome to Film Bites, the podcast where a lad and his dad talk about films they've just watched.
Hunt Club.
Oh boy. Oh boy.
So this was another experience of a movie.
Yes, indeed.
Actually quite a good cast, to be fair. You've got Mena Suvari, you've got Casper van Dien, you've got Mickey Rourke. But what was it?
I mean, I don't really know what to say, apart from I called it about 15 minutes into the movie, and... Was it even 15 minutes?
I think it was even earlier than that. I think you got 10 minutes in and you knew what was happening.
Yeah.
Just by the reactions in one scene.
Pretty much.
So we have a pretty much relatively standard fare action thriller, come revenge thriller.
Yeah.
Follows a similar pattern of the likes of Hostel, where a group of girls are lured to a rich man's club.
Mm.
And ultimately the clue is in the title as to what ensues.
Yes.
So we have a lot of wacky action.
Wacky's a word for it.
We have some interesting dialogue.
I don't understand why throwaway dialogue is needed. Put it this way, some of the dialogue is, the only word I can use for it is so cheesy and camp that it just, sometimes it feels so out of place. It feels like I'm reading a comic, but in the wrong context. It's like a Silver Age comic. Of anything, and with Silver Age, by the way, this is when censoring was happening, so it felt like almost like censored dialogue, but at the same time it was really robust. It was very odd.
It was quite stilted. I mean, I don't think it's the worst thing I've ever seen by a long stretch, but it is certainly, it's a bit, cinematically, it doesn't feel particularly cinematic. It feels like a bit of a made-for-TV pilot.
Yes.
And given some of the events that happen along the way, you think that there are elements that this could have been some kind of TV show in the works.
Yeah.
The actual violence, I think to its credit, isn't actually that graphic and didn't need to be. There's certain scenes which are like, oh, thank you for that.
Yeah.
Especially one of them in particular, which is just a mess. You get Mickey Rourke doing his usual Mickey Rourke performances these days, which is, I think, just to turn up, take the paycheck and go home again. Casper van Dien, who plays the alpha baddie.
Yeah, Andrew Tate, yeah.
Yeah, it's all a bit... it's just camp as tits, isn't it, really, this one?
Well, yeah. I mean, it's a bit of a mess, and I think it's hard to talk about this one because there's not much to say. It accomplishes certain things well, but as for the rest, it's a horrible mess. It tries, but I just think that they tried too many ideas at once, and when they get towards the end, it's a bit of a mess with choices being made. I mean, where did I won't say what they are, but where did the special effects at the end come from, and then roll credits?
Yeah, I mean... to say we had this kind of build-up to a last sort of battle, it didn't really feel like a last battle at all. Some of the fight choreography, I think they tickled one another rather than actually threw the punches or whatever.
There were times. There were very much times.
Yeah, I think you had to use your own imagination rather than what was on the screen. It was kind of a mishmash of a lot of different styles.
Oh.
I mean, the two lead protagonists really were not Thelma and Louise. You didn't feel like that it was a feminist movie. You didn't feel like it was toxic masculinity exposed for all that it is.
It tried to mishmash these ideas, and I think that at the end of it, they just thought Charlie's Angels, but violent.
Yeah, I think
and
you're probably right.
Like, no, you had an idea at the start. It was immediately you're in. So it was like, oh, okay, I think we know where this is going. It's pretty heavy stuff. Then we switch that immediately and say, actually, no, this is a feminist movement. We can stand up for ourselves. And then it mishmashes again. Hostility, toxic masculinity, Andrew Tate stuff, essentially, which is just, it's tiring, but it is happening. So I guess that's the kind of topic they were going off of to make this movie, but then it kind of just mishmashes all the way towards the end, and then you kind of just think, well, what was it?
Yeah, I mean, it was so revolved around stereotypes that you felt yourself. I mean, I got to say, it was a short run time, and I didn't lose interest in it at all.
No, but I enjoyed it, but probably for the wrong reasons.
Yeah, I found myself unintentionally smiling at certain bits of chunky dialogue that they stuck in.
Oh my God.
Which, that was pretty wild. But the whole thing it played out like a TV pilot. It played out the kind of movie that would be on late at night on cable TV, with the hope of a series that could follow two vigilantes, all this kind of stuff.
I've even got to say the third character that came in towards the end, where I was like, oh, this isn't my real name.
Yeah.
This is my real name. It's almost like a DC or Marvel superhero movie where it's like, by the way, I'm actually this character. And it's like, what? No way. Like, that kind of thing. It just felt a little forced towards the end. And it was just like, I get what you were trying, but that is not how you do it.
It was a facepalm.
It was.
Let's be honest. Yeah. It was a total facepalm. In terms of the good in this movie,
there's a few, but it's, yeah.
Yeah. I think if you're going to rent it, enjoy it. It's forgettable. I mean, it's got the kind of B-movie cast you expect to see, but they were A-listers in their time, but they're doing this, and they're clearly just doing this for the paycheck, I reckon. It is certainly a film that has a budget. It's certainly got a look of a film, but other than that, this is not Suicide Squad or anything like that. This is definitely made for TV fare. It will pass an hour and a bit, and that's about all I can say, really.
Although I've got to say, I think this is probably more watchable than the 2016 Suicide Squad movie.
Controversial.
But what was making you laugh and smile more?
Unintentional dialogue.
But it still made you laugh.
Quite right. Anyway, so this one's Hunt Club. It's available on the streaming services if you go looking. It comes with a mild recommendation, but I think you will find yourself distracted very shortly afterwards.
If you've enjoyed our podcast, please consider liking and subscribing for future episodes. Smash the like notification bell if you're on YouTube. Your support means the world to us. Please help us spread the word to grow the podcast. Until we meet again, film biters, we'll be watching. Will you?